Hey everybody, it's Boozer here. Just gonna make another video. Um, Special request here. I just got the biggest budget I've ever had given to me to make a gear set. Right now the budget's gonna be 4 billion. And any of you watch my previous videos, my previous biggest budget was 2.5 billion. It's actually 3 billion, but I ended up using only 2.5 billion. So this one's going to be 4 billion, and I ended up using the whole thing. So let's see how we do here. Want to give a shout out to ST Mac for letting me do this. Really nice guy. Hope he's happy with the set. So I'm just going to go over some of the things here. So I have it right here in my stash. We're going to start off with the wand here. So I picked a pretty good wand here. Unfortunately, is the only knock against it is the 9 arcane power. You really want to look for a 10 arcane power, but the rest of the stats are obviously very good. High intelligence, high damage roll, perfect attack speed 1.65. So this one I actually sold him from my own stash. It ended up costing him 1.17. So I was giving him about market price minus the tax, so saved him some money, and I got to move some of my items myself. So I think it's a pretty good deal regardless. I don't think he's going to be upgrading this wand anytime soon. I would always choose open socket wand for this type of budget, just because you're not going to be really getting high enough DPS levels with attack speed wand. Just it's arguable, but I think with the larger budget we can get enough attack speed to hit 2.73 without sacrificing anything, without going over budget. So I think it's a pretty clear choice to use open socket wand. So yeah, we went with that one. And let's see here. So we went with the Force. So I got this one for 420. I think it's a pretty good deal. It was a 1-day 12-hour pickup. Perfect attack speed, perfect crit chance, 9 arcane power again. It's really hard to ask for a perfect Force. So this one's not bad. Over 250 damage. Definitely upgradable, but for 420 it really fit into the budget. And yeah, I couldn't afford anything too much better since they were in the 1 billion range. So I think 420 was a pretty good deal for this one. I think it's probably worth like 600 or so. So got that one. Gloves. Really like these gloves. Has lots of great stats on them. Picked them up for 300 million. You don't see these kind of gloves very often. All resistance, armor, vitality, and base stat, and 3 really decent rolls on attack speed, crit chance, and crit damage. 9 attack speed. That's awesome. This is like the perfect like CM glove. So I'm really happy with this one. I ended up paying 300, which I really didn't think about. It was like such a good deal. Definitely worth more in my opinion, and I think people would pay more for this, but that's what you get. So hope he's happy with that one. So these vowel words, always look for strength roll with vitality roll with this kind of budget. If I was working with a really small budget, I would go without vitality and just go high strength, high intelligence. So this one's pretty good. 645 base armor. Always look for base armor that's in the higher 600s, I guess. 630, 640, 650. Anything like low 6, it's a little reduced value, but you know, every little bit counts. Decent strength roll, 140. Ideally you want more, but it's okay. Nice intelligence roll, 272. Also you want to get a pretty good resistant roll, so 77 is pretty good. Yeah, I got these ones for 21 million. Pretty good deal. I had to bid on them to win, so if I were to buy them out, probably a little bit more. They're probably worth like 35, 40 million maybe. not much more. Also for this one, I chose to go Mempo. Could have went Stormcrow, but I think with this bigger budget, I always liked Mempo just for extra resistance, life. It's easier, but obviously Stormcrow, Mempo debates. You can, they're just stats. You just gotta make up elsewhere. So for this build, I went Mempo. This one cost me 400 million, which I think is a pretty good deal. I bought it 1 day, 12 hour. Couldn't see anything comparable in the low to high 400, so it's probably worth somewhere around 500, maybe 550. I like perfect intelligence, nice resistance, nice base armor too, 437, 11% life. Like, it's a pretty good 4.5 crit chance, 8% Mempo. If this was 9, I look for 9% attack speed. It's just way too expensive. The price hikes, like 550 to start, and you're getting 170 intelligence. So I'm not going to bother with that, since we can make up the attack speed elsewhere. So went with Mempo here, and for the chest, went with the Rasher chest. More DPS. Usually with smaller budgets, I don't really like going the Rasher chest, just because it's really hard to get a good one for a decent price and get some good value out of it without losing too much stats. So this one I thought was okay. Nice vitality roll. Obviously I went with double vitality, and has all resistance, middle all resistance, 9 attack speed. A bit low on the intelligence, but for the price I paid about 220 for it. I had to bid to win it, so I think I paid slightly under market price, but not by too much. It's a nice chest, and I'm sure the next chest would be at least 2 billion to upgrade this, so it's not going anywhere with this chest. Blackthorn pants, basically Blackthorns, I'm just gonna go with all the defenses on the pants for most setups. As you can see, high all resistance, 67, could be higher, but I didn't want to pay the premium. Nice life on hit, max is 479, so 461 is pretty good, very close to max. 12% life, a nice little extra stat there that always increases the value of these pants. Nice armor roll, so that's what you're looking for. You're looking for 750 total armor. That's nice. Like, you don't really want to get armor pants and with like 590, because it's like, why are you getting that armor roll then? You might as well just get sockets or extra stats elsewhere, like, you know what I mean? So make it worth your while. That's what I'm saying. Like, same thing with most of these stats. You don't really want to get like 30 all resistance, 20 all resistance. Like, it's kind of a waste of a stat, to be honest. You might as well want something else, like anything else, really. Like, you want like anything else, like just total waste of a stat. So just make it worth your while when you're buying these, when you're picking stats. I mean, like, you want to stack them. These pants ended up costing me 100 million. Bought them out. Roughly, I'd say about market. I don't think I overpaid. I paid about market for them at that time. I recently sold a 57 all resistance pants with similar total armor for 80, so it's about market. So yep. Let's see here. So I had another debate here. I could have went with the Zuni set for DPS, or I could have went with the Natalia set, ring and boot, I mean. So it's a pretty good debate. I ended up choosing the Natalia set just because ST Mac, he's originally a barb, and he's just coming over to the wizard for the first time, so I'm trying to give him as much advantage as possible. And really, for these builds to really shine, for you to get the hang of how to play, a CM wizard, you really need the crit chance. So I didn't want to give him like 50 or 51, 52% crit chance. I want to give him as much as possible. So I ended up going with Natalia set. If he chooses to go DPS route, you can obviously choose the Zuni set. Of course, that takes a little bit bigger budget too, because if you go with a Zuni Pox, it's going to be hard pressed for you to get attack speed on the Pox and crit chance and crit damage. It's just really expensive. So with that said, like, you're already losing a ton of crit chance. If you go with a Zuni Pox without crit chance, you gotta make it up somewhere, or else it's just not worth your time. You're just losing too much crit chance. So I went with the Natalia set. This is the boot I ended up getting for him. I think it cost me 40 million. It's all right. Not the best price, but I like the stats on this one. Nice vitality roll, max all resistance, 6% reduced melee. That's what I'm looking for. Decent dexterity roll. Remember, these extra stats will add up later and obviously give you benefit. Strength gives you armor. Dexterity gives you dodge. All these things are important. The only knock against these boots that I can see really is the base armor roll. 569. It's pretty low. Ideally, you want something over 600. I think this max is 608 or 606 or 616, somewhere around there. So a little, you lose a little bit, but I think for the price, I didn't want to pay 100 million for boots, just because I think I might have been strapped later. So went with these ones for 40. To complete the set, I ended up winning this ring here, nice trifecta ring with intelligence. So that's a nice couple thousand DPS there. A little bit of vitality, never hurts. Again, it's kind of hard to find nat rings that are decent. This one is okay. Has the low attack speed, 8%, has pretty low crit damage and middle range crit chance. I ended up paying 650 for it. I don't think you can even buy an intelligence trifecta nats ring right now for less than 780 or 800 or 750. So 650 I think is pretty good. Base stat with vitality, even with the low attack speed, low crit damage. We ended up not needing all that attack speed anyways to hit breakpoint. So I think it was okay. It's nice to complete the set with this. Had some extra money. I think at this point, I think this was the last item that I had to take down. So I ended up spending the budget. So didn't want to get them just a straight crit chance ring, just because the extra DPS from the crit damage is pretty nice. Like 20, even 24% is an extra 10 to 12,000 DPS. So it really helps him out. Might as well pay for it if he has the budget. Next up, I got the Witching Hour here. Pretty standard Witching Hour that I would like to use for most of these builds. Couldn't come to justify to pay 300 to 400 for one. I think even with 4 billion as a budget, it's a little high to pay for a Witching Hour. And you're not really getting too much more. You're kind of just getting 90 strength more on top of these stats, or maybe 140 intelligence. So went with intelligence. Went with like a useful resistance roll, random resistance roll, fire. Nice all resistance, 70. You always want all resistance on the Witching Hour, unless you can make it up somewhere else. Nice armor roll, 551 base, not bad. Problem with this one, I got this one pretty cheap. I think I got it for 80. 8% attack speed and mid 40 crit damage. Kind of okay, but it's upgradable later on in the future if he feels the need to. But yeah, really looking just to pump up the armor for the character on this belt. So for 80 million, I'm not going to complain too much about it. You guys saw the force that I got him. So like Coonies, these ones I ended up winning for 110 million. I ended up winning these ones. Looking for AR armor, so all resistance and armor. Kind of meddling rolls on both of them. Low attack speed. I was going for a little bit extra crit chance on them. The resistance and armor are okay, not the best. But for 110 for all resistance and armor, Lacunis, and 5.5 crit chance, I'm not going to be able to buy out anything else. And this is what was available at the time. So I took a shot and I won it for 110, and I don't think I overpaid. Yeah. really like using Lacunis just for the 24 movement speed as well, and that'll obviously help out someone that needs to learn the positioning and everything of how to play a wizard. So if you're starting out, it's always good to have 24 attack speed, 24 movement speed. But make sure, like, if you get Lacunis, because they really do lack good defensive stats, you either A, make them up elsewhere, or B, get them with defensive stats. They're getting really cheap now on auction house, especially like lower crit chance ones. So yeah, just keep your eyes out and try to win some bids, maybe, like, especially the lower end ones. So if you guys are just starting out, they go for pretty cheap because not really anyone looks for them. But yeah, just a little thing. For my other ring, as a DPS ring, I couldn't really think of anything with life on hit that I really liked, that out DPS the Unity. So I gotta go with the Unity here. I've owned a Unity forever. I still own a Unity. It's in my stash. It's a really good ring, especially for mid to high builds. Like, people use Unity. It's really good. Nice invisible DPS to elites, 4%. Life on hit. I really need the life on hit here. I couldn't make it up on the ring, on the Nats ring, just because it was too expensive and rare. So I went with this Unity. It ended up costing me 250 million. Market price, couldn't find any on bid for whatever reason at that time. 40 average damage, low intelligence on this one, but 250 was about market price. I was either paying 200 for a 3% elite and 250 life on hit or whatever. So I ended up paying a little bit more just for a nicer life on hit and the 4% elites. Yeah, so it's a really good ring. The only knock against it is no all resistance, and eventually you're gonna outgrow the Unity if you want something with more DPS, but you just really have to, like, factor in the 4% elites damage that you're missing out on. So yeah, just make sure you guys consider that in your upgrade if you guys have Unity. And for my amulet, I ended up choosing a Rasha amulet. Yeah, this one's pretty nice. I wanted some extra all resistance just to shore it up a little bit. I think I was a little low for my liking and for the budget. So I went with this one. This one ended up costing me 280 million. It's a buyout. The next one up was 500, and the next one below it was 140. The only knocks against the 500 was that it was an it was the same 8.0 crit chance, but it was like 77 all resistance. So I'm not paying 250 million for 20 all resistance at this point in the budget, and I don't really want to pay 150 less for 200 intelligence, 5% cold damage, and 30 all resistance. So I felt this was a pretty good median amulet to have. 284 intelligence, almost near max, 6%. You really want to get that 6% cold damage because it's actually worth quite a bit for DPS. Again, middling all resistance roll 50. That's okay. And yeah, 8% crit chance. So all said and done, this thing cost 4 billion exactly, just because I had that flexibility on the wand that I supplied him. Let's strap it on and see what kind of stats we come up with.
Let us seek our fortunes together.
Okay, so on myself, I'm Paragon 100, so that does factor into a brand new wizard. Looks like 850 all around, all resistance, 4700 armor. These are very good end game, like, you know, Paragon 100 stats. These are very good, like, people shoot for these stats, and this actually hit my expectations. 218,000 DPS also hit my expectations. I was hoping for 200. So 218, pretty good. On a brand new wizard, probably like 195 or something. So not bad. Very good starting point. This one I got 60% with the follower, so 57% crit chance without the follower. Very good crit chance. Can be better, but not bad. Hit the breakpoint. Got some extra attack speed to spare. Let's see here. 48,000 HP. So even at Paragon 0, you're looking at about 40k HP. That's a nice health pool. And that really comes from the Mempo, and it really comes from the chest. Blackthorns, the pants help as well. They're very high in vitality. So it's a nice little extra cushion just for surviving certain fights with elites and affixes and tanking some bombs and stuff. So it's nice. The only two problems I see here that could be improved upon would be life on hit. I went a little bit tight, just under 800. Totally doable. I even think 700 is doable, but obviously you want more. The more you have, I think, is better. I don't really think there's too much diminishing returns, like even if you have 1500, but it just kind of hurts because you're sacrificing some stats for them. Another way to get more life on hit for this person would probably be to stack it on the amulet. He may or may not. If he can make up some all resistance somewhere else, maybe choose a Rasha amulet with a bit more life on hit. But for now, I don't think it's too necessary. 774, it's gonna be okay for a little bit. And another knock is the 18 arcane power on crit. Not a big fan of that. I'm gonna say minimum would be 19 at this breakpoint, 2.73. But I think it should be okay. He has a pretty good crit chance. He could have went with a weaker wand, but I ended up giving him my stronger wand. He could have went, yeah, like I said, he could have went with a weaker wand for 10 arcane power and then hit 19 arcane power on crit. But it's nicer to have a nicer chance set. I think they're a pretty good investment right now. They just probably won't go down in value. So yeah, so that's about it. I think it did pretty good for this guy. To compare with the 2.5 billion wizard, I think that one I don't think can compare, just because the wand itself that he got for that build was like 240 million, and it was a good wand. So, and this basically I cut him market price, like minus 15% the tax. I don't know, like that wand was just so lucky. And he also got really lucky on the force for that build, 500, and it was like 280 damage force or something. So the DPS level is really high, and we also got a private deal on that guy's amulet. So I think for this one's straight from auction house. He could have got the wand from auction house, just would have been slightly weaker, maybe slightly, not as good, like less int or something, but it's about roughly the same stats here. So I don't think I could have done anything more. It's really a struggle on this one because I was looking for pretty specific gear. Really struggled with the Nat Spring, really struggled with the amulet. Had to wait for a lot of buyouts. Had a tough time looking for chant forces, just because the market right now for forces is just really weird and overpriced. So it actually took me, would be like the 5th day, but it's complete now. I hope he enjoys it, ST Mac, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching this and listening to me rant about nothing. So yeah, have a good one, guys.